You've probably said it before. I speak Spanish, or French, or Mandarin. But then someone asks you a question you didn't prepare for, and suddenly your brain freezes. You fumble for words. You switch back to English mid-sentence. So what are you? Are you bilingual? Are you fluent? Or are you just pretending? Here's the thing most people get wrong. They think bilingualism is a finish line, a certificate, a moment when you wake up and suddenly you can speak another language perfectly. But your brain doesn't work that way, and neither does language. Let's start with what we actually mean when we say someone is bilingual. Most people imagine perfect, native-like fluency in two languages, equal ability, no accent. But researchers define it much more broadly. If you can hold a conversation in two languages, even imperfectly, your brain is doing something remarkable. You're bilingual. That might sound too generous, but consider this. There are people who grew up speaking two languages at home and still prefer one over the other. There are people who learned a second language as adults and use it every day at work, but struggle with casual slang. There are people who can read a language beautifully, but stumble when speaking it aloud. Which one is the real bilingual? The answer is all of them. Your brain doesn't store languages in separate boxes. Neuroimaging studies show that when bilinguals process language, both languages are active at the same time, always, even when you're only speaking one. Your brain is constantly managing two systems, suppressing one while activating the other. It's like playing two instruments at once, but only letting one be heard. So when you freeze mid-sentence, it's not because you're failing. It's because your brain is working harder than a monolingual brain ever has to. Now let's talk about fluency, because this is where things get even messier. Most people define fluency as speaking without hesitation, but hesitation isn't the problem. Native speakers hesitate all the time. They use filler words. They restart sentences. The difference is that when a native speaker does it, we don't notice. When a non-native speaker does it, we call it a mistake. Fluency isn't about perfection. It's about functional communication.
Can you express what you need to express? Can you understand what's being said to you? Can you navigate the situations that matter in your life? Think about your first language for a moment. Are you fluent in legal terminology, medical jargon, the technical language of quantum physics? Probably not. But no one questions whether you're fluent in your native language. So why do we hold second languages to an impossible standard? Here's a better way to think about it.
Fluency isn't a single threshold. It's a collection of domains. You might be fluent in ordering food, discussing your work, talking about your feelings, but completely lost when it comes to politics or philosophy in that language, and that's normal. That's how language works. Your brain builds language through experience. The more you use certain words and structures, the faster they become accessible. Neuroscientists call this entrenchment. Pathways in your brain get stronger with repetition. So if you spend your days talking about software engineering in your second language, those neural pathways are fast and automatic. But ask you to discuss Renaissance art, and your brain has to work harder. The pathways aren't as developed yet. This is why immersion works. Not because it's magic, but because it forces your brain to build pathways in more domains. You're not just learning vocabulary. You're training your brain to access language faster, in more context, under more pressure. But here's the insight that changes everything. Being bilingual isn't about reaching some mythical level of perfection. It's about having access to another way of thinking, another community, another version of yourself. Because language isn't just words, it's culture, it's humor, it's the way you solve problems and express emotions. Bilinguals often report feeling like different people in different languages. That's not imagination. That's your brain adapting to different linguistic and cultural frameworks. So when you stumble over a word or mix languages mid-sentence, you're not failing at bilingualism. You're living it. You're doing what millions of people around the world do every single day. You're navigating between worlds. Maybe the real question isn't, am I fluent, but am I growing? Because your brain never stops learning. Every conversation, every mistake, every moment of confusion is building new pathways. You're not trying to reach the end of language. You're trying to expand what you can do with it. And that process, that's what it really means to be bilingual. If this perspective resonated with you, consider subscribing for more explorations of how your brain actually works with language. And if you're learning a language right now, I'm curious. What domain do you feel most fluent in, and where do you still struggle? Leave your thoughts below.